3 threats, 5 days, and a storm setup that has not looked like this in years. 5,000 joules of storm energy loaded across the plains in Monday is just the opening move. 100 degrees in West Texas, a Baja, low digging south, and nobody has connected all 3 dots yet. At the 2-minute mark, I will name every city sitting inside Monday's hail corridor right now. By minute 6, I will show you the one system that meteorologists are genuinely losing sleep over. And at 10 minutes in, I will tell you something about this June pattern that changes how you plan your week. Burn this into your memory. At this hour, the next 72 hours are going to be dangerous for millions of families. Right now, an MCS is spinning up over eastern Kansas, and it is heading straight for Missouri overnight. That storm complex is going to barrel through the Missouri Valley and reach the St. Louis area by dawn Monday. Gusty winds, torrential downpours, and localized flash flooding are already baked into the overnight forecast. I want you to picture Dorothy. She is 71 years old, lives alone outside Columbia, Missouri, every window dark. At 2 a.m. Monday, that MCS arrives with 0 warning and damaging wind gusts across her county. Dorothy does not know this is coming. That is exactly why you need to share this video tonight. Now here is the number that needs to be front of mind: 5,000 joules per kilogram of instability. That is the peak storm energy available in the Kansas-Missouri corridor as of tonight, and it is flat out extreme. When a supercell taps into 5,000 joules, it does not stay weak, it goes severe in under 10 minutes. Good Lord, folks, this is not a garden variety June thunderstorm rolling through the neighborhood. This is a stacked atmosphere ready to unload across the central United States for the next 5 days straight. An omega blocking pattern has been locked over the upper Midwest for weeks, acting like a lid on a pressure cooker. That lid is cracking tonight, and the energy trapped underneath is about to get released all at once. Here's your first reward for staying with me. The SPC is running a marginal overnight into a slight risk Monday. That upgrade to slight risk on Monday is not a routine call. It means organized severe storms are expected. Eastern Kansas and Missouri are the overnight hot zones, scattered severe coverage all the way to the Ozarks. The threats on the table right now are damaging winds, large hail, and yes, an isolated brief tornado. Not every storm tonight goes severe, y'all, but the ones that do go strong in a real hurry. If you're in Kansas City, Columbia, Jefferson City, or anywhere along the I-70 corridor, heads up tonight. That MCS rides the Missouri Valley corridor and delivers gusty winds to the St. Louis area right around daybreak. Monday, June 1st is where this whole thing kicks into a higher gear, and here is exactly why that is. A surface low is deepening in far southwest Kansas, pulling Gulf moisture north along a strengthening dry line. The Front Range of Colorado and central Kansas are the bullseye for Monday afternoon, plain and simple. Supercells fire east of Denver afternoon, and they will be packing large hail as they cluster and push east. Dodge City, Liberal, Garden City all sit right on the instability axis where storms will ignite Monday. Hail is the #1 threat Monday afternoon. Golf ball-sized stones are on the table in isolated supercells. Drop your city in the comments as we speak. I am personally building a watch list for tonight and tomorrow. Now let me tell you where this gets personal, and most people have not connected this yet. Oklahoma City broke a record high yesterday, 97 degrees on May 31st, the hottest late May day on record. West Texas is staring down 100 degrees again on Monday, and the heat is not letting up one single bit. Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland, y'all are already flirting with triple digits today, and you know how this feels. But here's what most folks are flat out missing: that 100-degree heat is not just uncomfortable, it is jet fuel. That wall of heat baking the southern plains is the same energy that will ignite severe storms by this evening. Hot, dry air from the southwest slams into Gulf moisture surging north. That collision is what forecasters fear. Dew points range from the 50s along the plains axis to upper 60s and low 70s into Missouri in the south. That muggy, soupy air is feeding supercells from East Colorado all the way into the Missouri Valley tonight. I want you to think about Earl for a second, 68 years old, rancher outside Dodge City, herd in the pasture. Earl checks the sky every morning before anyone else, but this storm will build faster than the eye can track. And that is the honest-to-goodness truth about Monday afternoon. The timing window between clear and severe is tight. Now, and this is where most people will stop watching because they think the worst is over. Do not stop. The storm threat on Tuesday and Wednesday makes Monday look like the warm-up act, and it goes way deeper. On Tuesday, June 2nd, the storm torch passes north as the Dakotas become the primary target for severe weather. A shortwave trough digs east across the northern plains, firing scattered storms in the warm sector by afternoon. Surface dew points sit in the mid-50s to lower 60s across the Dakotas, enough fuel to fire rotating supercells. Bismarck, Jamestown, Fargo, Aberdeen, large hail and damaging wind gusts are Tuesday's primary threats up there. Northern Plains storms move faster than Southern Plains storms, and that gives you less time to react, no joke. Meanwhile, Tuesday also brings a slight risk of excessive rainfall to West Texas and eastern New Mexico. 1 to 2 inches of rain falling fast over burn scars and steep terrain that is flash flooding territory. Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Roswell, if you are near a burn scar area, Tuesday is your day to stay on high alert. Turn around, don't drown. 6 inches of moving water knocks a full-grown adult down. 12 carries your car. Burn that into your memory tonight, because those two numbers save lives every single severe weather season. Down in the southeast, Monday is also in play. If the more aggressive model solutions verify, heads up. Y'all. Mobile, Pensacola, Memphis, Nashville, Western Tennessee, all the way down to the Gulf Coast is watching today. Now let me tell you about the flooding threat, because it is already happening and most people do not realize it. Montana has been soaking in multi-inch rainfall for days on end, and the rivers are running out of room. The northern Rockies and High Plains are saturated. Flash flooding is a genuine threat through midweek up there. Missouri gets its own flooding risk tonight from that MCS rolling through, especially around the Ozarks corridor. Northern Florida and southern Georgia are watching for flooding rains through Monday morning. Not a drill, folks. And here's the insider detail most people miss. Not all of this rain is bad news for everyone affected. Southern Georgia and northern Florida are critically dry, and that rainfall is genuinely needed for the land. But beneficial rain turns deadly when it falls too fast, and this week it is going to fall very, very fast. Let me tell you about Sandra, 63, retired schoolteacher, lives near a creek bottom outside Valdosta, Georgia. Sandra watches that creek after every rain, but 2 inches per hour overflows that bank before she can react. That is not a worst-case scenario. That is exactly what the WPC is forecasting for her area Monday morning. Do yourself a solid if you have family near a creek bottom or flood-prone area. Call them before you sleep tonight. Now here is where the story gets bigger than any single storm, and this is the part nobody's talking about. Wednesday, June 3rd, the mid-level trough digs into the northern high plains and things escalate hard. The WPC is tracking a slow-moving surface low that will focus numerous organized storms across the northern plains. A moist and unstable air mass locks in across the Dakotas. Severe weather is possible Wednesday and Thursday. Large hail and severe wind gusts lead the threat Wednesday ahead of a cold front pushing through the Dakotas. Thursday, June 4th, the trough tracks into the upper Mississippi Valley and the severe threat follows east. Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Thursday is your day to watch closely as that shortwave trough pushes through. The WPC raises a marginal risk of excessive rainfall all the way from the Dakotas to the Texas Panhandle Thursday. Good grief, that is a rainfall threat corridor stretching over 1,000 miles from north to south. And down along the Gulf Coast, a slow cold front stalls from Georgia to East Texas through Thursday and Friday. Precipitable water values along that frontal zone are running 2 inches 2 standard deviations above normal. That is some of the deepest atmospheric moisture we have seen in the Gulf Coast corridor all season long, folks. Houston, Baton Rouge, Mobile, Pensacola gully washer storms are possible Thursday night into Friday morning. Friday, June 5th, multiple shortwave troughs push across the central U.S. and instability peaks in the Great Plains. Friday and Saturday, the storm fuel is maximized in the Great Plains with a broad, moist sector in place. Isolated severe storms are possible again across the Dakotas Friday afternoon as a shortwave ridge moves in. The pattern is convoluted through the weekend, but mark my words, storms will fire every single afternoon. And I need to be straight with you, there is a bigger system coming that changes everything. A significant upper-level low is digging down toward Baja, California as we speak, and it is still deepening. The further that low digs south, the stronger it becomes when it ejects northeast into the Central Plains. That upper low is going to lift northeast through New Mexico and West Texas by Thursday, June 5th. But then, and this is the whole ballgame right here, it deepens, strengthens, and sets up the siege. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, June 6th through the 8th, that is the window-keeping forecasters up at night. 3,000 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. In the instability axis that weekend, that is supercell fuel. Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, you folks need to have a game plan long before that weekend arrives. Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, the second round of severe weather is coming for you next weekend. And I need to ask you directly, do you have a real shelter plan if a tornado warning fires tonight? Not a maybe plan, not a we will figure it out plan, a real plan with a real location tonight before you sleep. Because once that upper low ejects and taps into loaded Gulf moisture, we get the 3-day siege event. Now let me tell you about the temperature side of this story because it is honest to goodness remarkable. El Nino is actively developing in the Pacific, and that changes the severe weather playbook for this summer. AccuWeather's lead forecaster says near to above average tornadoes are expected from the plains to the east coast. Not just tornadoes, folks, straight-line winds, large hail, and flash flooding are the real summer threats. The West and Pacific Northwest are going to heat up fast through mid-June with that ridge building offshore. Portland, Seattle, Spokane temperatures climb well above normal through the second and third week of June. Phoenix is looking at well above 100 degrees by next week, and drought conditions are not backing off at all. Las Vegas, Tucson, Palm Springs, the desert Southwest is baking under that ridge, and relief is not on the way. The West Coast is bone-dry heat, plus drought has raised wildfire danger to critical levels across the region. California, Oregon, Washington, if you are in fire-prone areas, this is not the week to let your guard down. Meanwhile, overnight lows along the Gulf Coast from Texas to Florida are running record warm this week. Houston, New Orleans, Tampa, Miami, your overnight lows are in the mid-70s, and that feeds the storm machine. Those record warm nights are a sign of how much Gulf moisture is streaming north into the storm corridor. The instability corridor from Texas to Nebraska is running hot every single afternoon as the week progresses. Flat out the honest-to-goodness truth, the tornado season is not over, y'all. It is just moving north. Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, you're entering your peak severe weather window as of today. And I want you to think about Bob and Carol, retired couple in Sioux Falls, going about their Tuesday. Bob heads out to mow the lawn, Carol is baking, and neither of them has checked the severe weather outlook. That is the scenario I am talking about when I say the Dakotas are not ready for what Tuesday is bringing. Do yourself a solid get those weather alerts turned on for every member of your household before tonight. Your phone is your early warning system. Do not silence those National Weather Service alerts this week. Now let me break this down city by city so you know exactly what is coming for your area. Kansas City, you get hit first tonight. MCS arriving with gusty winds by early Monday morning at daybreak. St. Louis, expect gusty winds and heavy downpours rolling in around daybreak Monday after that MCS arrives. Denver supercells fire east of the city Monday afternoon. Large hail is the primary threat for your eastern suburbs. Wichita and Salina, both of you are in the slight risk zone Monday with scattered severe storms by evening. Omaha and Lincoln, instability builds your way Monday evening as the storm complex pushes northeast through Iowa. Now listen, something I need to say to the folks in the Dakotas tonight: do not underestimate Tuesday's setup. Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, Rapid City, Bismarck, Minot, the storm threat for your area is real, and it is Tuesday. Billings and Great Falls storm activity builds across eastern Montana Tuesday as instability pushes northwest. Minneapolis and Duluth, you stay quiet early over the coming days, but storm chances increase hard by the weekend. Chicago, the blocking high keeps you dry through Thursday, but that pattern changes sharply by the weekend. Let me ask you something serious. What is your family's plan if the power goes out for 2 days? Detroit and Cleveland, you are quiet through midweek, but stronger storms are building on your horizon by Sunday. Pittsburgh, Columbus, Indianapolis, same quiet stretch midweek. Same concerning weekend forecast coming your way. Nashville and Memphis Gulf moisture is streaming your direction, and storm chances ramp up hard Thursday and Friday. Atlanta and Birmingham daily storm chances are building through the week. Southeast pattern stays unsettled. New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, a warming trend arrives. Midweek and 90s are possible by the weekend. Charlotte and Raleigh, stormy weather arrives by week's end as the pattern pushes east toward the coast. Boston and Providence, temperatures climb all week. Heat arrives by next weekend for New England. Tell me in the comments which city you are watching. I read every single one of them. Are you in the storm zone, the heat zone, or the drought zone at this moment? Tell me below. Every comment you drop helps me build the live update list for tonight. Your community matters to this forecast. Now let me shift to the rainfall outlook for the next 7 days because the numbers tell a serious story. From Alberta straight south through the plains all the way to Texas, a corridor of heavy rainfall is locked in. That belt of rain rides the front and dry line through Wednesday, June 3rd, dropping multi-inch totals. The Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Great Lakes stay mostly dry through midweek. The blocking high still holds there. By Saturday, June 7th, the pattern breaks down and rain starts pushing east into those dry zones fast. Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee soaking rains arrive by late this stretch. No two ways about it. Think about Margaret. She farms outside Ames, Iowa, and those rains arriving by next weekend are long overdue. Now let me shift to the tropics because today is June 1st, the official start of Atlantic hurricane season. Here is the honest truth about the Atlantic tonight. It is quiet, and it is staying quiet for 2 weeks. NOAA's main development region from Africa to the Lesser Antilles is running cooler than normal at this moment. The Caribbean is cool. El Nino is suppressing the Atlantic. No Gulf storms. No development for weeks. But the Pacific side of this story is a completely different ballgame, and it is already getting busy. There is an 80% chance the first-named Pacific storm develops in the next 5 days heading toward Hawaii. Sea surface temperatures off the Mexican coast are running 2 to 4 degrees above normal at this point. Those warm waters are fuel for a second Pacific system developing off Central America around June 10th. That second system could develop into a hurricane by mid-June, bringing flooding rains to southern Mexico. If you have family in southern Mexico or Central America, the time to check on their preparations is now. El Nino is building in the Pacific, and that means the eastern Pacific hurricane season could be very active. Now let me take you to the bigger June picture because the pattern shift coming is something to watch closely. Typhoon Jingi, just east of Japan, is going to recurve into the North Pacific shortly. Pay close attention. That typhoon's energy will extend the Pacific jet and allow a ridge to build along the entire west coast. That downstream ridge brings northwest flow back into the central and eastern U.S. starting around mid-June. Mark my words, by June 6th and 7th, stronger storm activity returns to the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, your window of quiet weather closes fast by the end of this stretch. Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati track the forecast daily from Thursday onward, no exceptions. Think about Frank 72, retired from steel in Columbus. He has not heard a tornado siren since 1974. Frank's area looks quiet through Thursday, but the weekend pattern change is coming fast. He needs to know. Week 2 of June, 8th through 15th, the blocking high breaks down and the storm track opens east. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, severe storm risks return for you during that Father's Day window. And heading into the last week of June, a monsoon flow and ring of fire storm setup becomes possible. That means Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan need to stay heads up through the final week of June. Now listen, this is the 10-minute information I promised you at the start. The March 2026 heat wave shattered Southwest records and set off a chain reaction we are still living with. That heat event drained mountain snowpack fast, setting up wildfire conditions across the western states. Climate researchers called that March heat wave one of the most astonishing weather events of this century. And the setup as we speak, La Nina exiting El Nino building mirrors the pattern that triggered drought in 2012. I am not here to frighten you. I am here to make sure you walk away from this video fully informed. There is a difference between fear and preparation. One freezes you in place and one saves your family's lives. Now let me give you the bottom line. Today is not a one-day story. It is a 5-day dangerous pattern. Monday, June 1st, severe storms from the Front Range east through central Kansas by evening. Tuesday, June 2nd, the storm torch passes to the Dakotas with isolated severe storms by afternoon. Wednesday and Thursday, the Dakotas stay in the crosshairs and the threat shifts into the upper Mississippi Valley. Friday and Saturday, the Baja upper low ejects northeast and the southern plains reload for round 2. Saturday through Monday, June 6th through 8th, that 3-day severe weather event fires across the plains. This storm pattern does not care what you had planned. It is going to move through on its own schedule. Buckle up and act today, not after the first warning, not after the storm is knocking tonight. First, turn on your weather alerts tonight because that MCS is already organizing over eastern Kansas. Second, if you're near a flood-prone area in Montana, Missouri, or northern Florida, know your exit routes. Third, if you are in the hail zone Monday in Colorado or Kansas, get every vehicle under cover before dark. Large hail causes billions of dollars in vehicle damage every year. Do not let yours be part of that number. Fourth, for the folks in the heat zone from Texas to Oklahoma, your heat index hits 105 degrees by afternoon. Limit outdoor activity between 2 and 6 p.m. and keep water on you at every single moment outside. Fifth, and I mean this, check on the elderly people in your life today, not this weekend, today. Extreme heat is the #1 weather killer in America, more than tornadoes and floods combined, y'all. Think about the Dorothys and the Earls in your world, the ones who do not have somebody watching out for them. A phone call tonight could be the difference between a close call and a tragedy for someone you love. Because at the end of the day, the data does not matter if the people you care about are not prepared. That is why we do this, not to scare you, not for views, but to make sure your family is ready. Every single community in the storm path tonight deserves someone paying attention and raising the alarm. That is what this channel is, a community of people who watch out for each other when the weather gets serious. So share this video with one person tonight, one friend, one neighbor, one family member in the storm zone. That one share might reach the Dorothy outside Columbia who has no idea what is spinning up over Kansas at this hour. Which state are you watching most closely? Drop it in the comments and I will personally track your area tonight. No joke, I am building the watch list from every city name dropped in comments for the evening update. 5,000 joules of storm energy, 5 days of threats, and one community watching out for each other. Those are the 3 things I need you to carry out of this video and into your Monday. Stay locked in. This forecast is not fully written yet, and the next 72 hours will tell us everything. Stay safe out there, drop your city below, and I will be back with updates as this pattern develops.